there was this uranium refining site that was up in this mountain region of Germany, and they were mining for uranium and also refining it. The effects of radiation in the old days was unknown, and then there was the uranium mines. Now, anyone that's worked in a uranium mine, it's mildly dangerous, but I forget the exact danger of it. Anyway, though, the workers were told and informed about the effects of uranium, and some of them went ahead and mined it anyway. Like I said, I was really surprised. Some of the people were like, "Well, we're going to do this anyway. This is for our children. This is for whatever." And anyway, some of them had their immune systems stripped. There were way too many workers. As soon as we found out about it, of course we stopped it. And but by then, it's too late. We already had like 1,000 people or something like that didn't have immune systems. Um, anyway, there were accidents, but it was public and known, and I had scientists from around the world working on the problem of what was going on, why it was going on. It was all hands on deck, you might say. Um, Everyone was doing this thing. I had German scientists, Chinese scientists, American scientists, and at one point in time I said, okay, we're not going to do radioactive technology anymore. We're going to do hydro plants. Although some people said we can do it safely. Like I said, the 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 British scientists said we can do this safely. We're confident about this, and I was like, oh, all right. If you think, I mean, it's your people. I mean, you're going to be killing people if you're wrong about this. They said, no, no, no. We've done the research. We've looked at everything. We can do this safely. So I said, okay, well, all right, let's do it. Anyway, so the scientists had a group meeting, and I'm talking about the head people from around the world. It didn't matter, Chinese, Japanese, American. It was humanity. This was for everyone's future. So there was the German site, refining site, and they gave uranium to the Japan site. America didn't really need massive amounts of power yet, and they had their own little. Germany was going to be going into America to build hydro sites, and that was mostly for the textiles and stuff. Anyway, so it's basically building civilization. So there's Unit 731, and they were building what's called doing roads. They were building roads and hydro systems for Japan and China. Um, anyway, like I said, there was also the plague outbreak and the fleas and everything else like that. And there was all this stuff. So basically, the world's doing this whole project, and all my top people are working with me, and everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, I start getting reports of people saying they're going to kill us. They're killing us. Um, People are going around Berlin and they're shooting people in the heads, and that's probably why the Berlin was actually bombed by carpet bombing people, because they had gone through and they had shot. They had just pulled people out of the houses and just shot them in the head, right there on the street. Like I said, I saw the photographs of it. They would line them up, head down, bent over, and then they would just go down the street just shooting people. And this was what is known, I guess, as the Nazi Party. They would literally, like I say, it's the equivalent of walking down, going into any block today and basically pulling the people out of the houses, lining them up in the street, head down, face forward, and then giving them a bullet in the back of the head. Like I said, I ordered all the bodies exhumed. I wanted to know if it happened, although they burned the bodies. Like I say, the smell of death around Berlin and everywhere else was bad. So, anyway, I don't know why they did this. This was somebody else's order. Somebody like Kennedy or somebody like Carter or one of them ordered the death of millions of people. I suppose to break the ties, to make it so it would be unknown about me, and and the projects. Um, there were people that had died from radiation and all that other stuff, but their families were informed and their families were being taken care of. It's like there were monuments that were going to be built to them because they had sacrificed in the name of humanity. So they were going to get a plaque and everything. And I know that's not enough, and their families were going to be taken care of for as long as they lived. Because like we didn't know, we found out, and I mean anybody who finds out, it's like you died for your country, you died for your people, So, um, and some of them, even after they found out, they're like, well, if we don't mine it, then that means someone else is just going to get contaminated and mine it. So there were people that would go back into the uranium mines or go back into the labs and be like, well, it's going to be us that's going to die, and not someone else. So like I said, there were massive heroes. There were people in Japan, people in Russia, people in Germany that willingly went and exposed themselves to radiation, and did it for humanity, did it for their children, did it for everyone else. So there were massive, massive heroes. And there were supposed to be great big plaques built in their name, basically saying that these people, I mean, I ordered them not to. I said, we'll get somebody else. They said, no, it's going to be us. We're going to go back in there. We're already exposed. We already technically have a lethal dose of radiation. And I said, no, you don't. We don't know that. It could be 20 years. You'll be fine. And he said, no, we've talked to the doctors. We know. We're going to die. So we're going to go back in there and finish up this mine. I was like, don't. Like I said, I was crying. At the death of my people. I say, damn those people. Anyway, they were Chinese or Japanese or Russians. They sacrificed. Anyway, it wasn't just them. There were doctors too. Fucking doctors walk into a plague site. Anyway, there was all this stuff that was going on all around the world. Unit 731's doctors. Like, Unit 731 was a massive group. They had doctors, they had people, they had construction teams. There was a 5,000 or 15,000 man construction team building roads in Japan and China, the old way, using oxen sometimes. There were teams that were using oxen in Japan and Russia and China. They're building houses. They're pulling down logs from whatever. There was logs coming from the American forest, trees from all over. So anyway, like I say, Unit 731 was this huge group. It was basically like the China and Japanese government, pretty much. It was a construction group. They also had doctors too, because any construction site needs doctors. So I mean, there's accidents that happen. Runaway oxen cart, and stuff. And so, of course, any massive construction place needed doctors back in the old days. So, there'd be accidents, trees falling on people and stuff like that. And, the occasional accident. But so Unit 731 had doctors. They had construction teams. They built towns. They built Japan or China, pretty much. It was this massive, like, 250,000 man construction company, basically, or more. I think it was maybe even 1 million people were working for Unit 731. Just hugely massive, and they were working on the first ever research stuff. That's why they went after that one doctor in 731, because he basically ran Japan. It was a construction. He had people working on food. He had people working on. He was running Japan, basically, or China. 2 countries. He was running both countries pretty much. Well, I mean, he had hundreds of people underneath him too. That's why they tried to get him for war crimes.